Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kamen Rider Gotchard episode 4. So, this episode was okay. Actually, I think it was pretty solid. I think it was one of the more solid episodes. I think there was some good forward momentum. I'm having some mixed feelings at the moment. If I'm being honest, it's primarily surrounding Hotaro, who I just kind of like less each episode. He's been sitting on that line of like, there's times where I like him okay, but times he's annoying. But in this episode, most of the time he really got on my nerves. He admittedly had a nice scene later in the episode with Kudo when they kind of bond over their family past, which was nice, and that kind of balanced things a little bit where I felt he was very cartoony in the beginning, and it was nice that he had a human moment near the end. It kind of reminded me of sometimes the way I feel about Gira and King Oger, where he'll go really over the top and be an obnoxious cartoon, but then he'll have a nice scene that reminds me he's a normal human person, or at least sort of normal, but you know what I mean. But for the most part, during the beginning of the episode, he was just so annoying with his... I just don't like that type of character. It's never going to be my type of character. You know, I think it's going to always annoy me, unfortunately. But I just couldn't help but be more annoyed because even though we did get a break last year with Geats, I do really feel like so many writer protagonists are cut from the same cloth. Like characters like X-Aid and Zero One and Gotchard here, even Geo, feel quasi-similar, where it feels like it's the same character, but they just interchange a couple things. Hotaro, in particular, just feels like a weird variant of Zero One because the Kemi stuff, like his motivations about like protecting them and all living together and like yada yada, is just like it's the same as the Human Gear stuff. Like he has a scene with the villains where they're like, they're tools, we're gonna use in the right way. It's like, no, they're not tools, they're my friends, Human Gears. I mean, Kemis. It's like, I don't know. I wish they felt more different, even setting aside my annoyance at like the over-the-top cartoon performance. And I also couldn't help but think about how last year we got more of a badass protagonist, but they kind of balanced it out by having Keiwa, you know, be almost a similar character to what you usually get for a main rider in modern day. But Keiwa was much more of just a normal feeling person, and he didn't necessarily feel too much like that. But bottom line is, Hotaro is really starting to get on my nerves and it's worrying me I'm gonna get sick of the show. But there was other positives about this week's episode. You know, I do like Spanner Valavard so far. I do wish that, like I said last week, that they had waited and debuted him here, because it was a bit weird that they kind of shoehorned him in at the end last week to sell toys, and then this week he was in it, but he kind of just reoccurred. It did sort of set up the dynamic of him, but I almost wish that they would have waited and then had him debut, like just have him show up at the end of the last episode, and then this episode be about him. It just felt a little bit weird for that reason, but we did get some stuff with him, introducing him as basically like this Kemi bounty hunter, not really a bounty hunter, but you know what I mean, working for the Alchemist, but he's not part of the Academy. He obviously still doesn't like Gotchard, but he's got some sort of past or connection to Kudo or affection for her, as he's always like giving her cards and paying her compliments, so that's kind of interesting. I don't know why, I really dig his little weird purple suit outfit. Like I kind of want to like have that for Halloween or something. I don't know, I just like it. But he's very much that generic, like, badass, like, I disagree with the idealist protagonist character. But I like him because he's balancing out that energy. And we do get a bit more about Kudo's past as the main conflict comes in when again, that scene with the villains when they're confronting them, and they use the Ant Kemi, and they go into like this underground area, which was actually one of my favorite parts of the episode because it just was a really unique setting. You know, in Rider you often see so many of the same settings, and not only was it nice to see a setting I hadn't really seen before, but also it led to some just cool looking shots in the fight. But they bond down there when the villains reveal the stuff about her dad. That they find out, he finds out the person that gave the belt was the dad, and you know, vice versa. And they kind of reveal that she basically looked up to her dad and wanted to be an alchemist, but then he betrayed them, and alchemy is just kind of a job to her, and she didn't have a passion, but she remembers back in the past she just wanted to see people smile like her dad, and she finds common ground with Hotaro because he feels the same about his family. Which was a nice scene. I thought it was a nice scene that kind of softened their relationship a little bit because she's definitely been cold to him. And like I said, it was a nice scene for Hotaro too because he felt more like a character in that moment. So it kind of softened the annoyance I had at the beginning of the episode. As far as action stuff, we debut a couple things. We get a couple cards that he trades with the new characters, and we get one of the CG forms, and then he gets the Ant form, whose name I forget at the moment, which, I'll be honest, definitely is my least favorite, but I do respect the creativity of it. It's a really unique looking form, and I like the way it fights uniquely. It is kind of weird that we do this debut form, and he uses it for like a minute, and then goes back to last week's form, and that's how he finishes the episode. So that was a little bit strange. I wish there was a little bit better pacing in regards to the forms, but I think you just need to get past that because I don't think Rider's ever going to be good at pacing the ability forms at the beginning. It just felt like a whole lot's happening. Like he even uses another CGI pirate form again when they escape, you know, after they defeat the enemy and Valavard saves them. But this week I felt was overall pretty solid. You know, I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 5. I did enjoy it. The only thing I really didn't like about the episode was Hotaro just annoying me. But everything else was pretty good. There were some good emotional beats, a little bit of momentum with the plot. I like Valavard so far. You know, I'm still liking the action. I'm liking the suits and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm still enjoying it. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you're still enjoying Gotchard and what you thought of this episode. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.